After that, James 1 and 22. But don't just read about it, you gotta be about it.
Hello. I have not done a sit down video in, I don't even remember how long. It's just been vlog week after week after week after week. Something has been brewing in me, I guess. Because I knew I wanted to talk about something. I just had no clue about what. And about like 10 minutes ago, it came to me. So I was like, let me see if I can get it bright enough in here to do this video. And sorry if it's a little grainy because I have both of my lights on. I got so many lights on, but again, the ambiance is just real dim because it's real dark over in these parts. But anyway, I wanted to shed some light on if especially those that may be struggling with this, given the economy, given what society tells us, given that we just feel like we don't deserve better, right? And it's going to be along the lines of having or experiencing Stockholm Syndrome, right? And I have teased on having this syndrome before, given my past relationship, but I can say that I thankfully did not, because I did not share a space, as in I was locked in with a lease with somebody, because we don't do that around here. You got to show me you can pay some bills. Okay? If not, Tulu. Anyway, nothing of that sort. I didn't have to have my basic needs met through this person. So even though I was in a very like overwhelming, toxic, abusive situation, no, it was not to the extent of Stockholm Syndrome. However, there are a lot of people out here that develop a trauma bond. And I know a lot of people use that term loosely. However, with Stockholm Syndrome, that's basically one of the key components that makes it the disorder. Unlearning certain things, it can take somebody a lengthy period of time in order to do so, just given the turmoil that they have endured over X amount of time. Now, what you may see, and I'll show some symptoms here, is that if you're in a situation where you feel like you have to cohabitate with somebody just out of necessity, or you feel like it's the right move, or you have children together, and this is when I'm talking about like a counterpart, right? If you get to that point and these sort of things start to unravel, don't diagnose yourself. Please don't. Never do that. Get professional help. Get a second, well, get a first initial one, right? Get a second and third opinion when it comes to psychological diagnoses, because little do people know, they just take the first diagnoses and they roll with it. However, just like a scientifical doctor, now mind you, psychology is a science, it's just rooted in objective type of things, or subjective, if you will. And with, like I said, regular doctors, you go to the OBGYN or something like that, they have testing and they have things that they can give you and they have opinions and stuff like that. Psychology is the same way. I would want a second and third opinion with any type of doctor, right? So that way the bias can kind of be limited with that. Even though, again, speaking from a person that has both of her degrees in clinical psychology, I think it's important for people to do that, just given that any psychologist, any counselor, any social worker should be looking at the most current DSM book manual. And the DSM-5 is the most current one. Please Don't buy the manual by yourself and thinking that you can diagnose yourself. It is a manual for people like myself that are trained in the field to be able to separate more clearly with each diagnosis. So, side note with that. Sorry. Could be a nerd with this sometimes, but anyway, back to the actual disorder. There's no one way that you can see yourself, because I said it too. I was like, I would never be that woman. Well, I was that woman. I was that woman in a manipulative, narcissistic relationship where I was taken advantage of, where I was not cared for. When you get to a point where you realize that you're hated by your counterpart, it's time to go, you know? And I want to make people realize how more common it is with this situation, not just with Stockholm Syndrome, but with having the trauma bonds and the toxicity, and it becomes an armor almost. It becomes familiar, becomes common. And I want more people to try and break that mindset, because it shouldn't be you're in it just because it's the kids or because it's out of necessity because you can't pay full rent somewhere. You know what I'm saying? There are ways, there are programs. If you gotta stay with a friend, like, there's options. Like, I don't think people should be feeling stuck in 2025. That's just me personally. But I know rough circumstances happen. Mind you, I was homeless at one point as well. I can attest to that. It's hard transitioning and trying to find new home because you're done with the toxic stuff and you gotta make it do what it do, and you gotta make it shake, right? With the issues of necessity, that can snowball the toxicity very quickly, because the person that doesn't like you for real, doesn't love you, doesn't care about your well-being, knows that you're stuck or feel like you're stuck, right? Your mindset is already getting fed certain things, just probably from self-doubt. So for the person or the counterpart or the captor that feeds you this type of information of the doubt, of the negativity, of the manipulation, of the negative comments that you probably already think about yourself. They tap into that because they make you vulnerable and they know your weak points. And that's the dangerous part. Stuff like this is very gradual most times, and it comes out of left field. Some people, it doesn't even occur probably until a kid happens or until marriage happens. No, I'm not trying to deter anybody from having kids or marriage or having any of the phases of a romantic relationship and so forth. I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be like you have to get kidnapped to have these type of situations happen to you. Things that are hard that happen mentally challenges you are the outcomes in which people have bestowed upon you that you know. It's normally not a stranger. You know what I'm saying? It's the challenge. It is the emotional turmoil that happens when you put yourself out there. And I believe this is no different. So when you're in a household and you're in close proximity and you feel like you can't really be yourself, you're on eggshells, you feel like tense all the time because you know that an argument's coming, but you don't know when, how, what causes it. So that can make you very hyper vigilant on things. And some may use that as a power, as a positive thing, like when they're out of the situation. But when they're in a situation like that, it can harbor a lot of stress. It can harbor a lot of things that just make you want to low-key crash out. You know what I'm saying? and we can't afford no crash outs. Okay, just a personal story, just a side note, because I'm telling you, I could attest to this, and I'm okay with speaking about certain things at this point. Okay, so in my situation, right, he, in a couple instances, one, I remember him escaping a mental asylum because he checked himself in because of his paranoia. And again, that's another thing. It can tie into other mental illnesses that makes them try and transfer it onto you. But anyway, I get a call and I am given a 007 mission. Honestly, like, while I'm at work, right? So I'm thinking it's a really emergency. So I have to situate getting coverage for work and whatnot, because the call was, you need to pick me up here. Mind you, I'm new to the area. I don't know where this location is. So it was mission impossible, to be honest. But, I helped this person out. And there was a few times where, soda cans would barricade the door due to the paranoia of someone breaking in. So I wouldn't be able to use the bathroom because I was barricaded in the door, right? And I just tell my stories because I want somebody to understand that this is real. I'm not laughing at my pain. I'm trying to make it digestible so that way people know that it's a gradual progression. So I get like things like that, and it's very weird, okay? But I remember this one time, there were so many instances, but with the crash out part, right? Because I lost my train of thought because all the stuff started playing. I remember him because of some debacle with the children, right? I have no children. He had his own situation. He, and mind you, he used to drive very erratically, very dangerously, did not care about anybody's well-being, including his kids, myself, and so forth, which led him to a car accident, which one of his children perished due to it. But anyway, apparently that was a technical error with the axis of the car. Whatever, I will never know the truth. Do I care to know the truth at this point? No, because I know the way he drove. But anyway, this is dealing with cars. So he crashes out, busts out his people's mom's window in the car, right? And he drives to me. And like, I don't even know what's going on. His hands all cut up and whatnot. He was like, "Can I stay with you?" I said, "Hell no. You can't." Because that was one of the last straws that I have dealt with. So I said, "I don't even know why you came here, because they know where I am, and you busted out their car. So this is going to be the first place they find you if they want to deal with you legally, right?" So he never took accountability, okay? That's another thing. When it comes to the toxicity of people that are like this, no accountability, no regard for self or others. And again, side note, unfortunately, he has mentioned ooh-eyed many times. Put that in my head. If I leave, I'm a ooh-eyed. If you cheat on me, I'm a ooh-eyed. If you do this, that, and the third, is going to be night-night for me. meaning him. Like, he's just gonna, you know. And it got to a point where, again, psychology, right? I'm thinking, hey, I can help him. I have degrees in this. No. No. And the fact that that bothered me to my core, because I would never want somebody's quality of life to feel like that is their only out. But at the same time, people unfortunately feel that is the only option, and they either complete it or attempt it. And that is very sad, but very common. That's what I'm trying to get to with this video as well. Mental health is more common than people think. The severity of it ranges, but it is here, and more people need to talk about it in a transparent way. And it got to the point for me was, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I got that call. Now I know that I won't get that call because everything's blocked, everything. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. With crashing out in nature and love bombing, that doesn't mean that they're caring for you, if that makes sense. It's not a compliment that they're crashing out for you, right? It's not okay that they feel possessive towards you, okay? Now that's important because a lot of people misconstrue obsession and possession. Even though it's a very thin line, I think, it is different, okay? Obsession is like the stalking type. It's the, I need to know the if, ands, but, whens, wheres, hows, whatever. Either in like a gentle way, and then it gets aggressive, and then it gets, again, it's gradual. Possession is you're under lock and key. Like, you don't have any freedom either way. But possession is you are in a place where you are isolated through the manipulation, and you feel like you have nowhere else to turn. But the possession was cute at first, and then it swirls down the toilet once you realize, oh, I'm alone and I just have my partner. Where did my friends go? Where did my family go? And I experienced that as well. This has been around for a while. So I know a lot of people, especially with podcasts or something like that, they explain, excuse me, they explain the issue, they tell a story, but then they don't know how to fix it, right? Here's the thing. When it comes to feeling trapped, having a captor, going to the extent of Stockholm Syndrome, and similar things like it, the mind processes vary to getting to a point of escape or not dealing with that person anymore. People need to understand that many times the captee is going to return to the captor. Okay, that's just statistically Oh, that was weird. I just heard some screaming outside. That's new. But anyway, statistically speaking, that happens a lot. Like, I'm out, I'm brought back in. I'm out, I'm brought back in. I'm out, brought back in. There's several factors as to why. It doesn't necessarily mean that they care per se for the person. It's just it could be familiarity. It could be due to, again, that self-doubt. It could be just, I feel like I got to stick it out with this person no matter what because of maybe religious values or something like that. There's so many factors as to why someone returns back. First off, you have to understand and know the root of the why as you're creating the plan to escape. Because it's imperative that you unlock and unfold the blinders and all that, right? That takes time. Takes more time than people realize. And the outside looking in, people are like, I could never be her. I can never be him. Why is she just being okay with being treated like that? Why is he okay with just letting her walk all over it? You know what I'm saying? You can't speak on it if you don't understand it's survival at that point to try and get to a point of escape. Because unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that privilege, you know, and that's heartbreaking. So understanding that first point, you have to know the why and include it in your escape plan, because later on you're going to start questioning yourself like, the dating pool sucks. I should have just stuck it out because nothing is out here worth it, so I might as well just be with the H person anyway. No, ma'am. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay? This is when you have to literally, because I have mastered the actual self-reflection part and the mastery of self, right? And that took a lot of mirror work, literally mirror work, and having those conversations and being transparent on how I was feeling and never letting my emotions build up to the point where I implode or explode. You have to give yourself every ounce, every fiber in your being. If you have children or not, you have to think about them through you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't let them be the excuse. You have to think of your mind. I gotta go. I gotta think of something that will make me feel safe again because I don't feel loved. I don't feel safe. I am not poured into, and so forth. Self-work, self-preservation, mirror work. You have to do it in order to leave these situations, because if you don't wake up and realize who the hell you are, it's gonna be the insanity cycle all over again. And what is insanity? It's the same, doing the same thing, expecting a different result, but getting the same result. So you keep doing it. We don't like insanity because a lot of us aren't clinically insane right now because of that, right? But you have to break. If you're the chain breaker of the family, okay, like I am, you have to do the same with this. You have to know the why as you make your plan to escape. Working on self and self-reflection and self-love and self-confidence and everything that comes with self. Okay? And the last point, because again, a lot of people can't take all the points, you know. Please know that God will bless you once you realize the cycle is done. Okay? He will take what you've learned throughout that experience. He will take the pain. He will take the angst. He will take the worry. Again, it's on his time. However, it's a cleansing thing that he has to do for you through this time once you find a way to escape. Now, here are some things or an example plan on how to escape, I would say, in a manipulative, toxic relationship, right? Because a lot of people misuse a lot of terms, so I just want to say that. So here's an example. Those tips in the stories that I've told you and my own implication in the situation, right? Know that you are not alone. Know that you can make a plan. Know that you can better your life. Because no, you don't deserve to be trapped in such a way. You deserve love. You deserve to be dealt with patiently, gently, be able to live in true vulnerability when it's time, because that is your biggest strength. Okay? So I'm glad that you let me talk that out and share a part of me. If you do find things like this helpful, let me know. And because I talk too much, before my storage gets completely full, I will just say I will see you in the next one.